So here is some of Lord Chaitanya's instructions on how to be a devotee and what is this devotional service or bhakti yoga. I would ask you to please repeat Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Very good, Ved. Very good. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Thank you, Ved. You are supporting me very nicely. So, stay there. Yes, Prabhu. If you have a license plate, Jai Jai Krishna, your lights are flashing. So hurry back because I need you to support. Okay. Lord Chaitanya says, devotional service to Krishna is the chief function of the living entity. So there is science behind this. Lord Chaitanya is teaching us that the soul being part and parcel of Krishna, is manifested simply to render service. Now, as an individual soul, we have minute free will. Just Krishna, he has unlimited free will. We have minute free will. We have independence. So, by nature, by constitution, the soul is meant to be servant. So there are two options for the living entity. The living entity can serve the illusory material energy or serve Krishna. Those are the two only options. There's no third option. Either I will voluntarily serve Krishna, or I will be forced to serve the material energy in order to try to enjoy my senses. So Lord Chaitanya is pointing out, service to Krishna is the chief function of the living entity. The question comes up in philosophy. What is the purpose of my existence? Here, Lord Chaitanya is answering that question. The reason I exist is to render service to Krishna. Again, I have free will. If I don't want to serve Krishna, then the default position, I have to serve the material nature. But if I surrender, if I use my independence properly, I decide to serve Krishna. Lord Chaitanya continues. There are different methods for liberation: karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. But all are dependent on bhakti. Without devotional service, all other methods for spiritual self-realization are weak and insignificant. Unless one comes to devotional service of Lord Krishna, jnana and yoga cannot give the desired results. Speculative knowledge alone, without devotional service, is not able to give liberation. But on the other hand, even without knowledge, one can obtain liberation if one engages in the Lord's devotional service. We see that this is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Although Krishna explains Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga several times throughout Bhagavad Gita, at least 3 times, Krishna says, but if you want to see me, Bhakti Yoga. If you want to know me, Bhakti Yoga. If you want to come to me, Bhakti Yoga. If one chooses karma, jnana, or yoga other than bhakti, you will not get complete liberation. You will get partial advancement. And in actuality, to make any advancement, karma, jnana, and yoga have to be somehow or other tinged with bhakti. That's why it said here, bhakti is independent. It's not dependent on anything. You can be completely illiterate, but if somehow or other you execute bhakti, you can achieve complete perfection, because bhakti is completely independent. And elsewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam, what does it say? That if you execute bhakti, knowledge and detachment automatically come to you. Automatically. So keep that in mind. As he says here, the chief function of the living entity is devotional service. So the question comes, what is this devotional service? There are 9 different items. You are doing the first one right now, hearing. This is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga. This is the beginning of devotional service. It is your great fortune that you decided to come here tonight. And you know, some people, they come at the end, just before Arti. That's all right, better than nothing. But you are different. You decided to come and hear the science. That puts you in a more fortunate position. And I'm not saying that to flatter you. I am simply pointing out the science. This is a science. This Bhagavad Gita is a science. And that's my job. My job is to teach the science. Or as I have one good friend, he said, Narantara, your methodology is you plant seeds. Yes, that's my art. I plant seeds in your heart, and one day hopefully they sprout and you become great devotee of God. So you are doing the first item. So please, I hope that you can remember as you go throughout your life. And if you decide one day, I would like to increase my spiritual life, please remember, it starts from hearing. You hear from the Bhagavad Gita. You hear from devotees. You hear from the scriptures. This science of bhakti, that's the beginning. And when you've heard and heard and heard over and over again, you come to the second stage. Kirtanam, talking, describing, singing, preaching. That's the second stage. As I have pointed out hundreds of times, how is it that I can sit here and speak on this? The only qualification I have is that I spend hours every day preparing and studying. That's how you get qualified. Of course, I have received the blessings of my spiritual master. That also will be explained later by Lord Chaitanya. But if you spend so much time hearing, eventually that is also what will come out in your speech. My spiritual master Prabhupada mentions the most important thing about a person is his speech. You can tell everything about a person by how they speak and what is the quality, what is the nature of the subject matter that comes out of their mouth. That tells you what kind of person. So if I hear about Krishna, the science of Krishna, repeatedly, eventually that will come out. If I hear about politics, that's what will come out. Or if I hear about sports, that's what will come out. Or if I repeatedly hear about business, then when I sit down to talk with somebody, that's what will come out. Whatever you are hearing repeatedly, that's what's going to come out. So speech is the most important qualification. You can tell everything about a person just by listening to what are they talking, what is the sound vibration, how they are speaking. You can tell everything. Then, the next stage, you hear, you chant, you hear, you chant, you hear, you chant. You get to the stage of remembrance. Yes. How can I remember so many things that I want to say? That remembrance, of course, comes from Krishna. He mentions that in Bhagavad Gita. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. But unless I do this hearing and chanting, Krishna will not remind me. I'll not be able to remember. Then, when it's time for Arti, we will worship the Lord. That's another item of devotional service. I know probably most of you do some kind of deity worship at home. Am I right? You all do, right? That is an item of devotional service. That's very good. That's very auspicious for you. That should go on to whatever degree you can do. Then another item, a very easy item, is called Vandanam, offering prayers. The Srimad Bhagavatam is full of beautiful prayers. Here's my good friend. She knows Bhagavatam better than me. She can tell you so many prayers. Prayers of Vritrasura, am I right? Right? Prayers by Kunti Devi. So prayers by Bhishma. Prayers by Dhruva. The Bhagavatam is full of prayers. Indeed, on my computer, I have broken out all the prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam. All the prayers. So many. Prayers by Lord Shiva. He has his own chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shiva Gita. There's a Bhagavad Gita. How many people read Bhagavad Gita? Well, you know what? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's the Shiva Gita. Very interesting what Lord Shiva says. That could be a whole Bhagavad Saptaha right there. Shiva Gita. Yes. There's even Hiranyakashipu Gita. In the 7th canto, there is one chapter where Hiranyakashipu is speaking as if he's giving a pravachan. And you would swear it's Bhagavad Gita coming from the mouth of Hiranyakashipu. In fact, it says right there, Shri Hiranyakashipu Uvacha. That's how the Bhagavatam says it. The idea was Hiranyakashipu was speaking at the funeral of his brother who was killed by Krishna in his form at Varaha. So at the funeral, Hiranyakashipu had to speak. And so he spoke basic Bhagavad Gita philosophy. Unfortunately, he didn't believe anything he was saying. But at least whatever information he spoke was true. So there are so many prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you recite them, if you read them, that is an item of devotional service. My Gurudev Prabhupada, he was very fond of those prayers by Queen Kunti. Twice he gave lectures in Los Angeles and in Mayapur. He gave a series of lectures on the prayers of Queen Kunti. Kunti is such an advanced devotee. How do we know that? Because one of her prayers to Krishna, when we were in difficulty, my sons and I, when we were in difficulty for so many years, you were always there to deliver us. But now, the battle of Kurukshetra has been won. My son Yudhishthir is now king of the world, and you're leaving? No. Bring back the hardships. Bring back the calamities. I'd rather have you with the calamities than to have this kingdom to enjoy. Such an advanced understanding, Kunti. She'd rather be in difficulty because she understood in the difficulties, Krishna, you were with us. Sri Sri Radha Raman Bhagavana Ki. And of course, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the topmost prayers. So I told you there's a Shiva Gita. There's also a Gopi Gita. Yes. This Gopi Gita is only 19 verses. The scene is the rasa dance. And Krishna has, in the midst of the rasa dance, he disappeared. And the gopis went mad. And they searched through the Vrindavan forest. And they became mad and they were asking the trees, have you seen Krishna? They asked the animals, have you seen Krishna? And they kept wandering through the forest until it got so dark they could not proceed. So they returned to the bank of the Yamuna. They sat down and did a Namahat program on the bank of the Yamuna. And they sang their Gopi Gita. Prayers to Krishna, please return to us. And Krishna did return. So many prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's another item, Vandanam. Then there is also rendering service, confidential service, like Hanumanji. When I was offering the invocation prayers, before I started, I chanted Hanuman's own words. Hanuman was offered a special benediction by Lord Ram. After the whole battle of Lanka, and after Sita was reunited, Lord Ram wanted to give special benediction to Hanuman. Hanuman could have asked for anything. But what did Hanuman say? Hanuman said, "My Lord, I simply want to be your humble servant. That's enough for me." That's why Hanuman is called Bhaktaraj, king of the devotees. Here is this picture of Nrsimha Bhagavan. When Nrsimha killed Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsimha was still roaring. Indra, Shiva, all the devatas came and offered prayers to Nrsimha, but he was still roaring. He was still angry. And so Lord Brahma went to Nrsimha's wife, Lakshmi, and he said, "Please, he's your husband. Calm him down." She goes, "No, no, no. I've never seen my husband like this. I'm not going in front of him." So then Lord Brahma pushed Prahlad, "Do something." Prahlad had a garland. He put it on Lord Nrsimha. Then Prahlad bowed down, Dandavat. And when Lord Nrsimha saw Prahlad, he put his hand on Prahlad's head. He stopped roaring. Only Prahlad. So there's Prahlad's prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. You could say Prahlad Gita. 43 verses from Prahlad. 43. I've studied them. And after Prahlad offered his prayers, Lord Nrsimha said to Prahlad, "Prahlad, because you were my devotee, you had to tolerate so many sufferings from your father. Because Hiranyakashipu tried to kill Prahlad time and time and time again. At the end of this month will be the appearance of Lord Nrsimha. So I'm getting in mood of Lord Nrsimha. So Lord Nrsimha said, "Prahlad, because you were my devotee, you had to tolerate being thrown under the foot of an elephant. You were put into a pot of boiling oil. You were thrown into a pit of snakes. You were fed poison by your own mother. You were harassed by demonesses. You were thrown off a cliff. So many things, Prahlad. So I order you, take a benediction." Prahlad said, "My Lord, am I a vanik? Am I a merchant that I worship you in exchange for something? No. You are my master. I am your servant. Boss, finish. That's it. I don't need anything from you." But Nrsimhadev insisted, "No, you must take a benediction." So Prahlad teaches us, just like Hanuman teaches us. What did Prahlad say when the Lord insisted? Prahlad said, "Okay, if I must take a benediction, then I beg you, in my heart, no more material desires. I want my heart to be clean." And Lord Nrsimha blessed. And interesting, Lord Nrsimha then ordered Prahlad, "Now you must be the king of the demons." Interesting. And Lord Nrsimha said, "Don't worry. Although I want you to be the king of the demons, you're not going to be tempted. You're not going to fall down. I will protect you." So he did his job as king of the demons, but remained pure devotee of the Lord. What's that? Grandson. Bali was his grandson. And I'm glad you brought this up, Rambai. You gave me the next thing to say. Krishna just spoke through you. So, at that time, Lord Nrsimha promised Prahlad. He said, Prahlad, since I killed your father, never again in your dynasty will I kill anyone. So you know, Bali Maharaj later, Bali was grandson, he became king of the demons, and they kicked Indra out of the heavenly planets. And Aditi, Indra's mother, worshipped Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu appeared as Vamanadev. But Vamanadev did not kill Bali, right? He punished him, but he didn't kill. And then Bali's grandson, Banasura. Banasura had a daughter, Usha, and she fell in love with Krishna's grandson, Aniruddha. But Banasura did not like this, and so there was a big war. And Banasura was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And Banasura had 1,000